America, for some reason, loves Trinity, and I think Trinity is like okay when it's just her and her man's Bryce, but I think it's Bryce. The white dude who's a model looks like he should be in front of a Hollister somewhere, but clothed because his guy's like weirdly skinny fat. I think Bryce is a cool guy. I think he's genuine, but there's always a chance. He's from the LA area. He's a model, and he might be trying to get an acting gig. He might be acting a little bit. Who knows? I don't know how anyone would be that smitten in Love Island terms. Welcome back to the No One's Watching podcast. This is episode 11. If you're watching this, you shouldn't be. If you watched the last one, you shouldn't have. My name's Mike. If you don't know who I am, good. But hopping straight into it, I'm going to touch real quick on marathon prep. Marathon prep has been going. It's swell, Couple runs this week. I think I'm about 7 miles total this week. I don't have any run tomorrow, but I did have a run 2 days ago, which is like a conversational pace 6 kilometer. And then today I had a 7.5 kilometer, but I only ran 6 because it was a tempo run. First kilometer conversational pace, last 5 kilometers at a 10-minute pace. And that's max. That's max pace for me right now. So it was already, I think, about 82, 83 degrees outside by the time I finished that last 5K, and I had to pack it in. I felt like I was on the verge of like some type of heat stroke or heat exhaustion or something. So I was just like, you know what, let's just stop there. It gave me about a hefty 200-second break before it wanted me to run again, but just not having it. I do have a long run on a Sunday, but my next couple runs are going to be pretty treacherous, I think, because I am not going to be at my current place of residence, but I'm going to be in South Carolina. So I have a family vacation going to South Carolina. There's about 22 of us, and I gotta be able to run. And it's gonna be apparently it's gonna be super, super hot. I think the East Coast is getting a heat wave right now, so it's gonna be super, super hot. Now, I've run in South Carolina before, but it was June, July, August when I was running there. So it's been hot before, and be hot again. The name of the game is just to get up before the sun gets too hot, So plan is to run early in the morning, try to dodge the heat, and hopefully finish without collapsing in the middle of the road. My next run is going to be treacherous. Now, tomorrow I don't have to do anything, but tomorrow night I'm going to be driving from about 11 hours to South Carolina. So that's fun. And then in the morning, so basically as I arrive, I have to do about 7 kilometers in intervals. So about a kilometer at a 5-something minute pace, which is like basically a little over half a mile at a 9-minute pace, which is going to be, I would say, is a little bit faster than the fastest I can go. And then that's going to be followed up by a even faster 200-meter sprint. And I have to do that, or not sprint, but 200 meters at a faster pace. And then I have to do that 3 times in a row. So that should be fantastic. This is all after working. So I work a 1 to 9 shift tomorrow, 1 to 9 p.m. And then I'm going to drive an hour home. And then I'm going to drive 10 or 11 hours to South Carolina. And obviously, I think I'm pretty sure my wife will help me out. She'll probably end up starting the drive, but I'm going to have to finish it, and then I'm going to have to run as soon as we arrive, basically. So that's going to be treacherous. And then I have my longest run yet. On Sunday, my long run is going to be 13K. Now, the long runs, I like the long runs. Even the tempo or block one I had last week, it went pretty well. So long runs are not as bad as I initially expected, and I tend to do good just because I know I'm going to be running forever. So as long as I'm keeping a decent pace and a positive mindset, it seems to go pretty well. So not too pressed about the 13K. I already have a route planned out in my Strava. So I'm just run around the neighborhood. I'm just gonna beat the sun up that morning and try to get on into it. There's a couple things I want to talk about, though. I'm going to try to make this episode long because I am going on vacation for 10 days, so I kind of want to split this into 2 parts. One, we could talk about the vacation, right? So I'm going to be going on vacation with 22 people. I believe 8 of them are under the age of 4, so 3 and below are there's 8 of them that are 3 and below, so that's going to be It's gonna be very, very, very trying times. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a vacation, but it's gonna be parenting in another location with 11 other people, and it should be fun. Get to spend a lot of time with the family, and I think it'll be a good time. But for maybe like a couple days until we get tired of each other. Good news is we're split between two different rooms. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Usually, when you go on vacation, you're split. It's just you and your family. There's an escape, but it doesn't really feel like there's going to be too much of an escape. Now, I'm with the better half of the family, I would say, so kind of lucked out there, but still going to be a little bit treacherous. Yeah, I mean, be able to go to the beach with the kids, spend time with the kids, spend time with the wife. It's been years since I've been on a vacation, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. Kind of feel like I've already checked out a little bit at work because I'm going on vacation, which is not necessarily a good thing, but it is what it is. I just know that a week-long vacation's coming up, and I'm kind of excited to take a little bit of a break here. I think the last time I went on vacation was in 2023, and it wasn't really a vacation. It was just me getting out of the military and driving across the country. We took like a 7-day trip to drive across the country, and that was really fun. It was just me and my wife and the dog, and it was good overall time. Stopped in like Austin, Texas, and Nashville, and Little Rock was a little scary, but we stopped in Little Rock for a little bit. Amarillo, Texas, I think a couple other places, and it was fun overall time. But yeah, I mean, shout out to the USA World Cup team. They just beat Bosnia. I was just watching that. That was nice to watch. I only watched the second half because the first half I was driving back from work. I get home, ready to put it on, and kids are watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. There's not much I could do. That's their thing. Gotta respect it. Gotta let them watch. They every time a character pops on the screen, it's Donald. Like, yeah, that's Donald. It's like Goofy. Yeah, it's Goofy. And they just do that for however long an episode is. And, it's really cute. And I don't want to interrupt their little me time that they have. So had to let them finish the episode, put them down, and then caught the second half of the World Cup game. And let me tell you, I've never seen a worse call than the red card they gave Balogun. It was obviously like not on. It just didn't seem like it was on purpose, and like I feel like if you're gonna give a red card, like let it be egregious. If you're gonna give a red card in the knockout rounds of the World Cup, it better be egregious. It's like throwing a flag in the last 5 minutes of the Super Bowl. Like I know that's not the World Cup final by any means. It's a round of 32, but still, it's like these teams worked hard, and like if some guy steps on someone else's calf by accident, I feel like that shouldn't really get them kicked out of a game. And then, especially a close game where it's just 1-0, and then now the team is down to a 10-man squad. I mean, they were to hold on, they were to hold it out. The beautiful set piece, like free kick goal. Fantastic. Loved it. There's honestly nothing better than like watching a free kick go in for a goal. Like that's like a nice little set piece. Is a nice shot. I believe it was Tillman, and and they were just able to hold on, keep Bosnia scoreless. There was a couple times at the end there that I thought they were gonna put the ball in the net. Bosnia has some hitters. Now I don't really know too many of them, but I know Dzeko is pretty good. He came out close to the half on the back end. But there's a couple of young guys, and there's this one young guy who had a couple nice shots, and I thought he was going to put one in. Got real close twice, so it was nice to see them hold on to it and get the W. And now, I believe the next team we're playing is Belgium, and Belgium's not like the best team, but Belgium has some really good players. I know De Bruyne's at the end of his career and whatnot, but I think he's still lethal. I'm not sure what team he plays for right now. I don't know if he's still on Wolfsburg or wherever he was, or it's been not long since I paid attention to soccer. Most of my soccer knowledge is from FIFA, the video game, so I'm not entirely sure where he plays. I don't think he was ever on Munich or anything like that, but I know he was on Wolfsburg for a little bit. Oh, he was on Manchester City. That's where he was. Or United, wherever the blue one is. I'm a fan when the World Cup's happen. It's a fantastic thing, especially around July 4th and the 250th, But yeah, I'm really excited. I think this U.S. men's national team is one of the better teams that I've seen in my lifetime. I think there was a player that was on the U.S. men's national team that went to go play for Bosnia. Don't really know who it was. Didn't really see. Also, I wouldn't know because I'm watching all the games on Peacock, so it's just straight Telemundo. I don't pay for Fox, so I'm not going to start unless I couldn't watch the games, and I can watch the games. They're just on the Telemundo broadcast, and honestly, it's a little bit better. The goals are a little more exciting. I don't know what they're saying, but they're getting me amped up, and yeah, it's a fantastic time, and I'm can't complain. It's just I just don't really know what they're saying half the time, but I just love the way they say Estados Unidos and goal, and they keep that goal going for at least 30 seconds, or else they get fired. I think so. That's cool. But yeah, I mean, and especially being able to watch the rest of the World Cup games, or majority of the rest of the World Cup games, while I'm in South Carolina surrounded by family, I think it's going to be a good time. Now, I don't know how much longer the U.S. will last, even if they make it past Belgium. I don't know who they would play next. I believe they're in a bracket with Spain or something like that, so I don't know. Spain doesn't really seem as good as they usually are. I mean, they have some old heads that are pretty good. I don't really know about their younger guys. I don't know if that one guy is that young kid. I don't know what his name is, with all like the same haircut as all the kids in high school nowadays, with the curly on top, little curly top, shaved sides or whatever. But I forget his name. But he's really good, really young kid. But he's good, and he already has a goal in his first World Cup. So I think he got it in the first game. But I'm not 100% sure if he's on Spain or not. So it be what it be. I mean, I don't think the path's going to be easy for the U.S., but I'd love to see them at least make it. I mean, I'm happy with the performance so far. I mean, they made it to the round of 16, and we're not a soccer powerhouse. So it's really like, what do you expect to happen next? I am, however, extremely upset with Germany. This is the second time Germany has lost me a parlay, and now it was a 15 leg parlay, and I put like 10 or 20 bucks on it to win like 20 some grand. So I mean, it obviously probably wasn't going to happen anyway. But to lose the parlay on the second game, like, why is Germany losing to Paraguay? I know Germany's not what it used to be, but they still have Manuel Neuer. I know he's borderline decrepit. He retired and came back, but he's one of the greatest goalies of all time. They still have good players on the defensive end. I don't really know if they have any too many hitters on the front end of the squad, but they have Kimmich and the other guy, I forget his name, but good defenders. But they ended up going to PKs. Never lost a game that ended in PKs in the entirety of their World Cup career until now. They lost to Paraguay after going to penalty kicks, and that's honestly outrageous. And the last time I bet on Germany, it was World Cup qualifiers for, I believe, the previous World Cup, or maybe after that. I don't know. It was back in 26. I want to say it was sometime in 2021 was the last time that I bet on Germany, and I bet a 11 leg parlay on World Cup qualifier games. I hit 10 legs, but Germany decided they should lose to Macedonia, and I missed out on like a 5K payday. So I'm still upset about that, and I'm even more upset now that they did it again. Like I said, don't know. I haven't even looked at the other legs to see if I would still be in it, but I am severely upset that Germany is just took me out so early, But yeah, I mean, I guess moving on from the World Cup and all those games, I do want to talk about. Now, I've talked about it in the past, where I say that I watch Love Island and all that with my wife, and I think it's just super entertaining. But I kind of want to touch on everything that's going on right now, and I think I talked about in the last one towards the end, where you had the end of Casa More and all that, and everything's going on. But the episode that came out last night was the tail end, or the first half, I guess, of movie night, where people are just getting exposed left and right. So far, it's been like, I think they've only shown Casey, Anaya, Zach, and maybe a little bit of Corbin. I'm not entirely sure, but anyway, the vibes in the villa are not high right now. You know what I mean? I know. I don't, like, honestly, like, movie night, you knew it was going to happen. Oh, they showed Sincere. That was a good one. Like, you obviously knew what was coming. You've been waiting for this the whole time. If you're anything like me, or if you watched it in the past, you know exactly what this is. This tends to turn things upside down. And I just want to talk about a couple things with these characters, right? So obviously, staying in the frame of like Casey and Anaya, that whole situation, like Like, do I think that Casey handled the whole situation well? No, absolutely not. I think he did a piss poor job explaining himself and getting his point across, and he continues to do so. It's like this guy doesn't even know how to speak. You know what I mean? Like it's like he can't formulate sentences. He can't tell anyone how he's feeling or why he did what he did in a way that isn't going to hurt someone else's feelings. You know, and he, during the movie night, he stood up and he started yelling, and you just can't really understand what he's saying because he's not really saying anything. And it's really hard to watch because I'm kind of on his side in the whole thing. I think that Anaya is super draining. Like before Casamor, like when they were together, like it's just like he's just sad all the time and he's just trying to fix how she's feeling, and she's very, very insecure for some reason. And it's very hard. I assume it's very hard dealing with that. And so when he had somebody who came in who just wanted to be with him and gave him a bunch of attention, and he didn't have to fix problems every single day, like I can see why that's enticing to him. You know, he doesn't have to do a lot of the legwork there, and versus spending 3 weeks with somebody, and it's just, I would say at least 2 out of those 3 weeks he's just in the doghouse nonstop, and it's just like he's not even given the opportunity to explore, and he's telling her that he wants to explore, but every time he goes and talks to somebody, it's like a huge thing. And I think Anaya is just really annoying. Like I think she's kind of dragging this out. Like it's kind of old already, you know. Like how many episodes in a row are we just gonna just shit talk KC? You know, like we get it. He didn't choose you. He wasn't the most respectful about it. He didn't really portray how he was feeling or explain it to you well enough for you to, I guess, understand, because he's really bad at that. But I feel like you got to get over it at some point. Like you got your boy Carl back, and Carl can do no wrong. Carl's a sweet boy, you know. So I don't know. I think she's got to let it go. I think she's just loving the attention right now of being able to just shit on Casey and not really giving him an opportunity to talk. And like, she's kind of taking advantage of the fact that he can't really express himself too well. So, but I think she should just shut up. Honestly, I think it's over. I think it's done with. She's a little too aggressive, and I think she's milking it. You know, I think she really wants America to be on her side, but I don't know. Apparently America loves Trinity, and that's crazy to me. I think Trinity is one of the most annoying people in the villa by far. The way that she won't let Casey talk, she's like a little barking chihuahua, won't let Casey get out what he can. I mean, like I said, he can't speak at all, but like the way that she just cuts him off and waves her hands around and does whatever, like I don't know if I'd be able to even be in the same room if I were Casey and not insult her, you know. Like I'd like to just or just be super aggressive toward her because she is just annoying, you know. And like I understand, like America for some reason loves Trinity, and I mean, I think Trinity is like okay when it's just her and her man's Bryce, but I think it's Bryce. The white dude who's a model looks like he should be in front of a Hollister somewhere, but clothed, because the guy is like weirdly skinny fat. And I think Bryce is a cool guy. I think he's genuine, but there's always a chance, you know. He's from the LA area. He's a model, and he might be trying to get an acting gig. I think he might be acting a little bit. Who knows? I don't know how anyone would be that smitten in Love Island terms to look that smitten with Trinity. I think, like, have you really looked at her? You know, have you really looked at what the energy she's given? Because to me, Trinity looks like she eats bugs. I don't know if it's the theme of this Love Island season, but the teeth on this show are just outrageous. Like I think I saw a meme of Jen and Gal. When speaking of Gal, screw Gal, right? But anyway, of Jen and Gal, there's a meme where it says it's just a picture of them talking to each other, and it says first date is chewing on sheet metal, and they look like they can cut through at least like a couple millimeter thick piece of sheet metal with just their teeth. And I don't know, something about Trinity's face, like she looks like She has mandibles. She looks like she's missing mandibles. Like she got into a real bad fight, and another ant ripped her mandibles off. But she looks crazy to me, and I think that she eats bugs, and her upper lip kind of looks a little dusty. And listen, I'm not a fantastic looking guy or whatever. Like I definitely wouldn't be able to make it onto Love Island, but I just don't know what people see, and maybe you guys love her personality, or maybe you guys love her couple or whatever, but I don't know, man. Take another look, because once you realize that Trinity looks like she eats bugs, you can't really unsee it. She looks like she's just snacking on cicadas, and like they probably have the best connection in the house right now, her and Bryce, as long as everything's like super, as long as it's genuine. I saw another meme of like it was just like I guess Melanie and Sincere at the beginning of the show versus now, and it's just like a side-by-side picture, and she's losing color. Like she's getting paler, even though they're in wherever they're at, whatever island it may be. She just looks like she's losing life force, and I don't understand what her fascination with Sincere is. I mean, he seems like a little guy, like a little baby child, man, and the way he acts is just kind of crazy. Like he's just doing whatever he wants, and I guess taking her along for the ride. Sorry, my headset cut off for a second there, but he's just taking her along for the ride and just telling everyone different things. So he's just telling Melanie one thing, and it goes to the whole video, right? And he's telling Melanie that he only wants to be with her. He's not going to kiss Soul anymore, and then he goes and kisses her, and then tells Soul that he doesn't want to be with Melanie and all this. And they haven't even showed him of the Mora yet. It was just the whole first half of Soul and just how he's just like lying and being a little dickhead. But I think that's crazy, and I think the guy needs to like relax a little bit. Like it's not that serious, but I think everyone knew that Melanie wasn't crazy, and that Sincere is just out of his mind. But the person that I dislike the most on the show, and I don't think it's gonna really be a surprise, but it's Mackenzie. I think Mackenzie is a floozy. I think she's just out here searching for attention, no matter who she gets it from. She has been with or been pursuing, exploring, whatever, every single person in the villa, it seems, and they've come and gone, but for some reason Mackenzie stayed. And when they kicked out Gabe for moving on too quickly from Bia or whatever to go to Jen, like they kicked him out. I think they kicked him out way too early. Like he only talked to 2 girls, and they're just like, nah, you're giving player vibes, you're moving on too fast, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, Mackenzie just did that to 4 guys before Gabe even talked to Jen. Like she's done it she did it to that one dude that was a cop with the kid, and then she was with Zach at the beginning, and then Caleb and Corbin. Corbin's voice is annoying, and I've seen it everywhere and whatever. But I mean, is she right in the reason for, I guess, abandoning Corbin? Yeah, he was going a little crazy, on that live stream. But she's hopping around. Like it's no problem. Like she's like, I want to explore with Gal. Why? That guy sucks. Like what is Gal? I don't even know how Gal made it past Casa Amor. Like the guy looks like he has a hairpiece and veneers, and he's like 25. It's frosted tips. If you like, why are you dyeing your hair? You're supposed to be like, okay, you're a surfer guy who owns a coffee shop, and you in a coffee surf shop. I feel like not a bad idea. I mean, you probably have like some pretty cool like local guys or local customers and whatnot that like enjoy coffee and surfing, and like you go there before you go and check out what's going on with the beach and stuff. But it seems like a cool idea, but like the guy doesn't seem like a cool guy. He's very odd. He's an odd looking guy. He's an odd acting guy. I don't know. He seems like a weirdo to me. So I don't understand why I feel like Kenzie just has to. He's the only guy that's not really. I guess he was in a couple, but like they're, I guess, not really feeling it. And I guess he's not really feeling it with Jen. Jen was kind of feeling with him, but he told her it's not really what he's looking for. And she just kind of told everybody else that like Jen is kind of delusional about that whole situation, where she's telling everybody that they mutually decided, or she decided, and she's completely wrong. I understand that she wants to be someone's number one, but I don't know. Sorry, Jen. I don't want to say anything about Jen because I feel like it'd be too mean, but yeah. I just don't know if this is I don't know if this is really the show for you. I think you and Gal should just both see your way out. I don't think there's anything for Jen. I don't think there's anything for Gal. I mean, Gal might end up winning over Mackenzie because what's his name? I don't even know who she's with now because there's been so many of them. I think his name's like Dylan or something. He's kind of picked up on it faster than everybody else, where he's just like, I don't really think that she's very genuine. And the coming attraction for the second half of the movie night, it seems like he's going to call her ass out on it, and that's pretty sick. I'm excited for that. So, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I stand on the whole Love Island thing. So let's see, we talked about marathon prep, we got World Cup stuff out of the way, we got the vacation out of the way, we got, I don't know if I said Love Island already, but we just talked about Love Island. Yeah, and I got to go for a little bit longer, so let's talk about, so I'm going to divulge some, I guess, personal information here. And I want to talk a little bit about, just because I know I can talk about it for a little bit here, and I got some good stories out of it, but I don't know if I've said what branch, but I have told you guys that I was in the military. If you have watched this, which shouldn't be, but so it doesn't really matter what information I share, or it doesn't really matter too much, but yeah, I was in the United States Marine Corps. I did about 5 years. The whole time I was stationed in the San Diego area. Didn't really do anything too crazy. Actually, nothing really crazy at all. I just went to work. So don't really have anything I want to go into about what I did, but I do want to talk about the process and like how I got there and where I was at that stage of my life. So yeah, I kind of joined the military on a whim. Wasn't really like no one in my family really ever served. It's not like, oh, I wanted to be a Marine my whole life. Like, it was never like that. I kind of just joined on a whim. I want to say I went to, yeah, I'll tell you exactly what happened. So I had a buddy who told me he was going to join the Navy, and I never even really thought about that. At the time, I was about 21 years old. I basically just dropped out of college. I was playing college football at the time, and I didn't really see it going anywhere. It was Division III, so nothing too impressive. Didn't really see it going anywhere, and I wanted to transfer back home because I was away, and go to transfer back home. I ended up just not transferring my credits over, and I just ended up not enrolling in classes, and I just stayed working. Eventually got into some different trades and stuff like that, but I didn't really see a future in it. I didn't like the amount of hours that I worked, and boy, that was silly because I'm working, I think, around the same amount of hours now. But anyway, yeah, didn't really like where I was going. So I had a buddy who ended up joining the Navy, and so I decided, like, let me look into this kind of stuff, into the military, and see if there's anything there for me. And so I kind of sent out all my information to all the branches, and the first one that got back, you guessed it, Marine Corps, probably because they were hurting the most for people to join. So they got back to me within 24 hours. So I went over to the pool and told them that I was just looking for information. Ended up agreeing to go at a certain date, but I was a big boy. I was just came off of playing college offensive line, so I had to drop some weight. I was about something like 260 pounds at the time, and to ship they wanted me to be 270. And they also wanted me to ship in 2 months, and I was able to do it. I was able to cut the weight in about a month and a half, got down to 207, basically eating nothing, working out 2 times a day, and just going to the sauna twice a day. So sauna, workout, not eat. You can lose 40 whatever pounds relatively easily if you do those things. So maybe 50 pounds, 53 pounds. But yeah, I was able to lose that weight, and I was able to ship. So I got the MEPS, which is basically a little like the hospital beforehand, where you get to do like the physical, and they check and make sure that you can do all the pull-ups and crunches and whatever you have to do with the physical fitness test, and make sure that like you're not falling apart at the seams when you get there. But I was severely weak, and I almost didn't get the minimums for the crunches and the pull-ups because I just cut 53 pounds in a month and a half. So I was extremely weak, but I ended up being able to go, or basically being processed to get shipped. I was 207 at MEPS, which is about 2 days before I shipped to boot camp. By the time I shipped to boot camp, I was 227 pounds. I gained 20 pounds in less than 2 days. Less than 48 hours, I gained 20 pounds. So, I mean, that must have been a shock for them when I rolled up and they put me on that scale. But I think I didn't get on the scale until a couple of days later. So the way that it works, right, is when you go to MEPS, you get your whatever, you get basically cleared to go, and then when you go, it's just you kind of just get paraded around for days, and you don't have a place to sleep. And I can't speak for any other branch, but this is how the Marine Corps did it, and I'm pretty sure this is all public information. So I mean, whatever. But they don't really give you a place to sleep, for 3 days. They keep you up for 72 hours, and the reason that they do that obviously there's a lot of stuff that you have to get done, right? You have to check in, you have to, you get on those yellow footsteps to give you a brief on whatever and basically what you're going to be doing. You make your phone call. I made my phone call to nobody because I was shitting my pants, and I was just like, yeah, I'm done. And I just walked out, but I didn't get anyone to answer the phone. So, but yeah, you just go, you got to get a bunch of gear, you got to do a bunch of things. And the reason they keep you up for 72 hours is because they sit you down in a room and they say, hey, if you ever did anything that you're not allowed to do or something that you didn't disclose, like if you smoked marijuana or something, they keep you up for 72 hours to see if you lied. So if you lied on your package when you decided to enlist, they basically like, we know if you've done it, we know we're going to drug test you all, blah, blah, blah. If you fail, you're screwed. You're going to get dishonorable. And they like try to scare the shit out of you. And they put you in this room after 3 days of no sleep. And it gets you to try to tattletale on yourself. Now, fortunately, I didn't really have anything that I lied about, so it wasn't really a problem for me. I kind of just they basically tell you to put your head down and raise your hand, and I just fell asleep. Like I knocked out. Woke up about 30 minutes later when they woke us all up because I think 75% of the room was on the same wavelength as me, where they're just like, cool, I got nothing to say, so I'm gonna just go to sleep. And then you lose probably about 10 to 15% of the people that you showed up with immediately, like within the first 3 days, because they all like, oh, I did this, I did that, and they're just like, damn, you're screwed, or you need a new job, or whatever it may be, or if you pop on a drug test, you're gone, and that'll happen. Some time goes by, honestly, before they get those results back. So you could be there for like another couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden they're like, you popped on a drug test, you're out of here. So I literally saw it happen to a kid. I don't know what time, at what point you do the confidence course, but I want to say it's like I don't even know, but we were at the confidence course and this kid got snagged. They basically pulled him off the monkey bars and said, "You're going home. You or not home." If you don't know, I mean, if you at any point if you mess up during boot camp or you quit during boot camp for the Marine Corps, you basically are there longer than you would actually be if you finished. They put you in a holding platoon and you're processing for discharge, and they decide what kind of discharge they're going to give you, if they can give you like honorable, if they're even going to give you a discharge at all, and you're kind of just there and you're waiting, or maybe even a medical one if something happens to you. Yeah, so I mean, the easiest way through is through. The easiest way or the fastest way to get out of boot camp is to finish boot camp. At least for the Marine Corps. Like I said, don't really know how the other branches work, but yeah, I mean, you go through that process those first 3 days, and then you end up getting your platoon, and it's kind of crazy. The first time you meet your drill instructors, that give you that speech or whatever, but the first time you meet them, it's just like, what the hell am I doing here? Why did I decide to do this? They come in, they're like the best way to explain it, and like you always see those pictures of like, oh, like a bulldog with a drill instructor hat on. That's literally what they were like when you first see them. They're like hunched over, like flexing, and they're just like walking around like bottom jaw out, like, hey, and they're like, they all have like raspy voices and stuff like that. And like if you're not used to that kind of stuff, then you're just like kind of like appalled. You're taken aback, Very interesting dynamic, But I mean, after you initially meet them, it doesn't really cool down for a very long time. So you're just like on edge all the time. But after you meet them, you guys go into you meet your senior drill instructor, who gives you the whole spiel and all that kind of stuff, and then yeah, I mean, you're just you're being chaperoned. It's like a very intense summer camp from that point on. Like you have things to do, you have times to hit them, you have to make sure all your stuff's clean, you have to make sure all that's like good, and like I feel like you learn very quickly the games that are played. If you're you could be like, if you're like me and I was kind of like spectating a lot of the time. I really didn't get picked on too much, even though I was a little bit hefty when I got there. So they gave me one of those fat boy shirts, and they were just like, just basically just keep an eye on me, make sure I wasn't cheating on runs and stuff. And thankfully I was relatively I was one of the faster people, so I really wasn't. They're like, oh, this guy's big, but he can keep up, so he's fine. And yeah, I mean, and like just for reference, at the time, I think before I got to boot camp, they have you do a IST, which is initial like kind of like fitness test. When I was in the pool, they made me do it, and I ran a mile and a half in like 10 minutes 45 seconds at 250 pounds, and I was coming off a half a buffalo chicken pizza. Like I had no business running that fast. So kind of got lucky when I got there that I was relatively decent shape for my size. But yeah, I mean, you just kind of understand the games that are played. Like you understand, like we don't have anything to do until 2 p.m. So they're just gonna fuck with us for the next 2 hours. That's just what happens, and it's just like, oh, we just finished lunch. That means we're gonna go and get fucked with for about an hour or two, and then we're gonna do this because that's what we do every single day. And like you kind of pick up the tendencies after like week two. You're just like, okay, this is what it is. But then things change. Obviously, as you progress, you do different things. You have different responsibilities, so on and so forth, and you're preparing for different things. But I want to say one of the first like challenge for me being in there, besides waking up the second day, and you're just like. You're like, oh no, I'm still here. I thought it was a dream. But the first like challenge was a swim call, and I've been I'm a good swimmer. I've been swimming since I was a kid. Like my grandma had a in-ground pool in her backyard, and like it was never a problem. Like I was on the deep end as a young buck. I was a good swimmer. I'm like a little fish. But for some reason, when they have you swim about 25 meters from basically end to end in a 4-foot pool, or in a 4-foot end where you're not allowed to touch the bottom. That's like one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And the kicker, right? You're just putting on random boots. You're not using your boots. You're using random boots, and you're doing it in full camis, right? So you got full camis on. And for me, I had a size 10 left boot and a size 15 right boot. I'm a size 13, so the 15 was big, and I couldn't even get the size 10 even on my foot. So I felt like I was like Nemo with my special fin, trying to swim across a 4-foot deep pool without touching the bottom. And that was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. And I mean, in like my experience at swim call, I mean, was not the greatest, because I believe as soon as I finished my qualification, I got my swim qualification. They put me on. I was basically on mop duty, so I was just mopping up excess water that was around the pool, and like pushing it into, like squeegeeing it into drains and stuff. And my senior drill instructor comes up to me. He's walking by me, and he says, oh, if I should use my real last name. He's like, "What's up, Smith?" And I look at him, and I'm like, "What's up, sir?" And if you're not familiar with proper greetings of the day or what it's like to be in the military, but if you go to your senior drill instructor during your swim call week, which is very early on, like first 2-3 weeks, and you say, "What's up, sir?" It's like, you just get ready, and like I think he knew that I knew that was just an awful idea, because when I said, "What's up, sir?" I let out an audible noise directly after. It was like he just caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting him to say "What's up" to me. So when I said "What's up" back, I said, "What's up, sir?" And I was like, and it was just like he knew that I messed up. So he kind of let me off the hook, and I was surprised. But yeah, I mean, I got lucky with that one. But there's like, you got a bunch of people that dropped out on swim call because, if you got somebody who's like 6'7", how do you expect them to not touch the bottom? So basically, anyone over 6'4" that wasn't a fantastic swimmer was just getting booted left and right. And we did lose this other kid. His name was hey, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you his name. His last name was Mansberger. I had a lot of burgers. I had burger, I had burgette, and I had Mansberger in my platoon. And little Mansberger is a sweet little boy. He looked like he was 15. He had like little freckles, like he was a little guy, maybe like 5-foot tree or something like that. And I remember it was like the day before swim call, he raised his hand, and where he requested to speak to somebody while we were on the line and in our squad bay, and he told one of the instructors, or one of the drill instructors, that he was bleeding out of his ass. He's like, "I can't swim." And I was like, "Why?" He was like, "Why the fuck can't you swim, Mansberger?" It's like, "This recruit's bleeding out of his ass, sir." And everyone was just like, "What?" And like, like some people make up the darndest excuses to just stop having to do stuff, Like there's this one kid, I don't even remember his name. He wasn't there that long. And I remember it was relatively early. I don't really know at what point, but he was basically like, I was talking to him beforehand. He's like, "I think I'm done, man." And I was like, what do you mean? Like, why? He's like, "I'm having nightmares." You're having nightmares? You're gonna quit because you're having nightmares? And like, yeah, if you ever met this guy, you'd probably be like, "Yeah, there's something wrong with him." Or, he's not like, I don't really know if he's all there. But even then, I was like, so let me get this straight. You're just gonna quit because you're having nightmares. I was like, what kind of nightmares? He's like, well, I can't sleep. Like, I'm just waking up. I'm like, you're not thoroughly exhausted by the end of the day. Like, what do you? I'm like, even if it's the worst nightmare ever, like, just go back to sleep. What are you talking about? You can't you can't overcome nightmares. And I was like, and at that point, I was like, as soon as he's like, no, I can't. And I was like, you know what? Just do it then. Just tell him you're having nightmares. You need to get out of here. Cause like, to me, that's crazy. And I don't know. I mean, after a certain point, like you just start to have fun. Things are funny there, you know, like when you see people interacting with drill instructors and you're just like, wow, this guy's like folding like a lawn chair. Like he can't do whatever it may be, and it just becomes really really funny, and you start to see how they mess with people, how the drill instructors mess with people, and it's just like it's really entertaining. But like another one of my bad experiences, I think it was like day 5 being in there, and I just viewed it as like a prolonged summer camp that was really like mean people that watched you. But anyway, it was like day 5, and so we just got like basically second day into squad bay, and we're doing and the tail end of the night. You all shower together. You brush your teeth, shave, do everything together, and I'm basically just finished my shower. Now we're going over to shave, and like they kind of flop people back and forth. So it'd be like 30 of you are all shaving and brushing your teeth. Another 30 of you are in the showers, and then at a certain point, you guys flip flop. And so I just finished the shower part. I go over to brush my teeth and shave, and shave, and then make you do it against the grain because it hurts, whatever, blah blah blah. But then we get to the brushing teeth part, and I put the toothpaste on my toothbrush, and something happened where maybe someone bumped into me or whatever it was, and I dropped my toothbrush on the ground. And now there's just 30 dudes who just walked on this floor all wet, like we're in towels, like it's just probably like got like nut cheese and all that kind of stuff on it. And I looked at my toothbrush on the ground, and I look up at the drill instructor, and he just kind of gave me a look, and I was like, I just nodded. I was like, I understand. And I picked it up and just started brushing my teeth. And it was disgusting. But that was my only toothbrush. Like, am I not going to brush my teeth for 3 months? You know, so I mean, they're not going to give me another one. So I just ate it, and it was disgusting, but I had to do it. It had to be done. No, but I think after that point, after swim qual, and I think the total is 16 weeks you're there, and I mean, I got good stories about everything. I feel like if it was your birthday, you just got messed with, you know. Like there's this one kid, don't remember his name, but it was his birthday, and he got a card from his family, like saying, and it said happy birthday on the outside. They can't really open your mail and look inside of it, but if it said happy birthday on the outside. So they knew it was his birthday, and if it's your birthday, you're just gonna get messed with, right? So it was his birthday, and he ran all day, and I'm not joking. It was all day, and you would see him throughout the day, every now and then, and he would just be running through your squad bay, singing songs like "Happy Birthday to Me," "Happy Birthday to Me." How did it go? What is he saying? I don't know. It was like something like "Happy Birthday to Me," something, something, something. I love high knees, and he was just running, and doing more running, high knees, and all that kind of stuff. And it was all day. Like I don't even know if it's legal what they did to that kid, but yeah, he was just nonstop. And so, like, if it was your birthday, you kind of kept it on the down low. You didn't want anybody to know because you didn't want anybody to slip up and say anything in front of a drill instructor, because then you're getting messed with all day. But like once you get towards the end, you kind of sorry, my headset shut off again. Once you get towards the end, you like I said, you get into a move, and you start to figure the games out, and they kind of get a little more relaxed on you at the same time. So it's like you're kind of like feeling the vibes, and like you have certain things, and everything's like a competition where you're competing with other platoons, and like you're doing drill, and you want to have the best PFT score and the best CFT score, and you want the best rifle and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of build relationships with these drill instructors, and they're not like maintaining that bulldog thing. Like obviously you have different drill instructors for different things. Like you have one guy who's like who gives you all the knowledge. You have another guy who like makes sure you guys are doing everything right, and you have another guy who's just basically there to make your life a living hell. And they call him the kill hat, and he's just the one who's going to be PTing you the whole time, where it's like if you mess up, they're like, all right, they do the whole thing where all right, strip, and you take off your blouse and you go into the sand, or you go to the quarterdeck and you just start getting PT'd. So, and I got lucky where I didn't really get PT'd that much. You know, I was kind of on my P's and Q's while I was there, so I kind of got away with a lot of stuff, and they gave me a lot of a lot of the really awful jobs, but I didn't really care because the more responsibility I had, the less they messed with me. So, and that seems to be the theme of my experience while being in the Marine Corps. You know, even when I got to the fleet, the more stuff that I was capable of doing, the less like Marine Corps stuff I had to do, like the less inspections I had to do, the less formations I had to be at, and it's just because I was needed where for my job. So kind of got me out of a lot of stuff is like when you have a job and you do all the stuff that no one else wants to do, well, when it comes time, you're the only one who can do it, or you're the only one who wants to do it. So that means you don't have to do all the other stuff that you don't want to do because you have other responsibilities. And like obviously like there's a lot of time I had to do a bunch of different things, but that I didn't want to do. But I ended up, it was more often than not that I didn't have to do certain things. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the best part, no, I wouldn't say the best part. That's crazy. But one of the better parts was the camaraderie, you know, and like I mean, there's multiple different aspects of that. But like when you're going number two in a bathroom stall that has no door on it, and you're just looking at the guy across from you, and you guys are all talking, and you guys are telling different stories or whatever, and all this stuff. I mean, like, that's fun. You know, that was a good time. That was like one of my favorite aspects. Was just like you didn't have any privacy. Everyone knew everything about you, really. You know, and a good story here. We're all using the head or whatever, and we're all going to the bathroom, and someone says something about two guys who got caught like fooling around while we were there, and one kid he was like openly like bisexual, right? And he was like, wait, so and so was basically having sex with so and they were all like, yeah, like they got caught last night. Like, well, like the dude he caught him last night, and you're just like, he's like, oh my god, he's like, and so was doing whatever to so and he's like, yeah, he's like, man, he's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, and this kid is openly bisexual, right? And he's like, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. He's like, I'll have sex with someone's butt, but there's no way I'm ever letting someone have sex with my butt. And he didn't use those words, obviously, but I can't really get demonetized, right? So I'll use it in a better way. I'll use the actual words. He's like, you know, he's like, I'd fuck a guy in the ass. He's like, but he's like, getting fucked in the ass? No, that's gay. And this guy is like openly bisexual. Everyone knows, and it's just like, all right, dude. Like, I really don't see I don't like what could, that's a weird line to be walking, you know, and it's a weird hill to die on. Like, you're okay with fucking a dude in the ass, but you don't want to get fucked by a dude in the ass. It's like, I mean, I guess I can see what he's saying, but not really, you know. It's kind of like, and it just got real quiet, you know, and people were just like, yeah, and they just changed the subject. But there's a lot of fun times, you know. I feel like most of the fun times were after the Crucible, which is just like a treacherous, like a 3 to 5 day event. I don't really remember how long it was, but you're basically just out in the field. You're sleeping on concrete in like wooden sheds and stuff, and like in your sleeping bag and like the dirt, and you're just out there all day. It's super hot. Like I said, I was there until June, July, August, and it's super hot and whatever. And you kind of just like, it's like a culminating event where it's just like you take all the stuff that you learned throughout the whole process, and you just try to survive for the amount of time that you're out there. And like when I was there, we had a kid die. He died for 2 minutes, got brought back, and that's crazy. You know, like if I would have died, I'm like, all right, maybe this isn't for me. If I would have, you know, I definitely don't want to be seeing the white light. But I mean, there's a couple times where I was like losing it. You know, it was still hot. It was too hot. Like I said in the past, I have a problem with keeping cool. So I felt myself fading. You know, at certain points where I was like, ooh, if I don't do something about this or get to the shade or finish up whatever I'm doing faster, it's gonna be a serious problem, and I'm gonna get carried out of here. And there's always the infamous silver bullet, where if you pass out or you get something to do with heat stroke or heat exhaustion or whatever, they shove a metal rod in your butt to check your temperature. And it happened to my buddy where he took something very seriously that the drill instructor said, and it was our final PFT. You run I think 3 or 4 PFTs before you graduate, and it was our final PFT, and the drill instructor said, if you're not collapsing at the finish line, you didn't try hard enough. And this guy took him seriously. This kid ran, I think it was an 18:33 mile, and the best possible score that you can get is an 18. So if you're running faster than that, you shouldn't be in the Marine Corps. You should be in the Olympics. Probably not. You know, I mean, you probably have to run a little bit faster than an 18 to be in the Olympics, but you understand what I'm saying. But anyway, he ran an 18:30, and before that, he was nowhere close to that ever. He was like probably like an average guy of running like 24, maybe on a best day like a 23, and he was hauling. Right, he ran that 18:30, and he took maybe 4 steps past the finish line, and then just collapsed. So he took it very seriously, and he ended up getting the silver bullet 6 times on the way to the hospital. So he's just basically, I don't know if they were just doing it for fun at that point, or why didn't they just leave it in, but basically just like they're basically pulling your pants down in the backseat of a car and just shoving a metal rod in your butt. So feel bad for that guy, but he put it all out. He put it all out there. You know, he put his butthole on the line, and his butthole got. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the fun times happen after the Crucible, where things are a little bit more chill. You know, you guys are Marines now. You do the Crucible, you do the hike after, and they start referring to you as private first class or private whatever your last name is, and then you can start calling them sergeant, staff sergeant, corporal, whatever their rank is, gunnery sergeant instead of sir. So you actually become like a human. You get a watch. You know what time it is. You don't know what time it is until like 15 weeks in, maybe 14 weeks, and you start doing stuff. You can talk, as long as you're not being egregious. You know, you can talk to like people in line before you get a haircut. And I remember we're in line for our final haircut, and one of the kids is wearing his boots that he had during the Crucible, and he got put through it when he were on the Crucible. He was a part of a group in my platoon where they called them the swamp monsters, because they didn't go anywhere unless they were crawling through a creek. So from every single event, whatever they had to do, they had to make it through low crawling in the creek, and they were known as the swamp monsters. So he was a swamp monster, and he had his boots on from that, and they were all dirty. My buddy goes, hey man, you look like you have he's like, it looks like you stole those boots from Harriet Tubman. And we all start laughing, right? But the drill instructor comes up and he's like, what the hell are you guys laughing at? He's like, you guys need to lock it in. Like, you guys think you made it, huh? Because you whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, what are you guys laughing at? And someone's like, well, so-and-so said that this guy's boots look like Harriet Tubman's boots. And he breaks and he cracks a smile, and he's like, hey Johnson. He's like, what do you mean those? He's like, those boots look dirty. He's like, are you trying to say that Harriet Tubman has dirty boots? And this kid, his name's not Johnson, but Johnson's like staff sergeant. I just don't think Harriet Tubman had clean boots. He's like, if anything, I could imagine that Harriet Tubman's boots were really dirty. It's just like, just nonsense, right? But anytime you can get a drill instructor to laugh, it's like a little notch on your belt. And I remember we were Fox Company, and we had to come up with like a ditty for our step off for our march, and like it basically just like say it before you start marching a formation, or like before you start doing drill or whatever. And he was like, does anyone have any ideas on like what you guys want to step off to, blah, blah. And just like, I was like, oh, I got one. This recruit has one, sir. And he's like, go ahead, Quinn. I'll cut it out. He's like, go ahead, Smith. And I was just like, this recruit thinks we should step off to Fighting Fox in your mom's box. And he is like, whenever they laughed, they would pull down their hat and they cover their face, and they're laughing under there. They're not really, there's nothing else they could be doing. Why else would they cover their face? And he walks away, and with the cover of his face, he turns and he looks at me over his shoulder, and he said, Smith. He's like that's the weirdest thing I ever heard. And he cracks a smile, and then he goes back, Smith, you're fucking weird. And we ended up using that one. So that was cool. That was one of the things we got to do. And what else do I got? I don't know. I feel like a lot of these stories are like, I had to be there. I had to know the people, so on and so forth. So I'm trying to find something that's like objectively funny. But I did have an odd relationship with the guy who was supposed to be the kill hat. Like, the guy was supposed to be messing with everybody and like making sure, or just like basically like slaying everybody. And like what I mean by odd relationship is that he couldn't look at me in the face without smiling. Every time he would look at me, he would pull his cover down and just like basically leave me alone because he couldn't look at me without laughing. So he's like he told me eventually told me it's because I put a stupid face on every time he looked at me. Every time he looked at me, I'd look at him like, and he ended up like he came up to me one time and he's like Smith. He's like, what you're gonna do is you're gonna stop looking at me. He's like, because he's like, you're gonna get me in trouble. He's like, every time you look at me, he's like, I can't. He's like, so I'm not gonna look at you. You're not gonna look at me. He's like, we're gonna communicate through just sound. He's like, no body language, no eye contact. He's like, just sound. And I said, okay. And an example of that, right? So we're on the line and we're practicing drill with the rifles, and I have the rifle at my side, pinching the top or whatever, and I have it at my side, and it's a little away from my heel. So he comes up to me, he kicks my rifle into my foot, and he walks in front of me, and I didn't say anything, right, when he did that. So he walks in front of me, and his shoulder is basically cutting my sternum in half, and he looks at me from this, or he doesn't look at me from the side, but he's this is what I saw. And he puts his fingers in my face and just snaps, and I cracked a little smile. I was like, "I sir." Right, because he won't even look at me anymore, and I think a large part of why he couldn't look at me. So one time we were this is a little bit more lax at the end, where it's just one drill instructor who's handling the entire like shower shift, right? And or the whole bathroom shift towards the end of the night. And now I'm in the shower, and we're all like showering, right? We're all doing whatever. And he goes and he checks on the people brushing their teeth and shaving, right? And while he's gone, I thought it would be funny to to basically tuck everything and pinch my legs together so it looks like I don't have genitals, or I have like female genitals. Right. And as I'm doing this and I'm like talking shit to somebody, this guy, he rounds the corner. He looks at me, he looks down, he looks back up at me, and he just turns and then he walks away. So, I mean, I could assume that that's the reason why he wouldn't look at me in the eye anymore, is because he saw that. And now I don't remember which one happened first, but I mean, I can assume that one had to do with the other. And yeah, I mean, I think boot camp was an overall fantastic time. And like, you obviously have stuff that goes on after boot camp. If you're in the Marine Corps, you go to the MCT, which is basically Marine Corps training, and you do different hikes and you prepare for different things. You get to shoot different guns. It was a little bit more fun. For me, I was more in a bunch of hurricanes that happened while I was there, so I really didn't do much. But I mean, it's a whole different dynamic too, because you have different like commodities. You know, you have like candy and nicotine, and a lot of people do like dip and chew and cigarettes and all that kind of stuff. And you have different. It was like prison, right, where you would have like, oh, like the black guys would get all the candy, and they'd corner the market on candy, and then they would trade that candy to the white guys for the pouches and the chew, and all the every time they restocked the vending machines, all the Hispanics would go and they'd grab all the Monster. And then it was just like trade. It was just like a some type of economy where we were trading back and forth like different things that we wanted. So my biggest thing is, well, I didn't want to get too fat while I was there, right? So I'd get you all get MREs or whatever, and like, or you get like different jail boxes and whatever, and they all come with different things. And most of the time you have like a piece of candy in there, but I didn't want to get too fat, so I didn't want to eat all the candy. So I would trade my candy for trail mix. And it was just like, because I could trade one bag of M&Ms for 5 bags of trail mix. And to me, it was just like, trail mix is good. Like, I like it was like peanuts, cashews, almonds, and with chocolate, raisins, and all that kind of stuff. And so I would just trade my M&Ms for trail mix that had M&Ms in it. It seemed like a no-brainer to me. And I'd get 5 things, and like, I probably ended up getting fatter because I was eating 5 bags of trail mix versus 1 bag of candy. But I mean, I guess MCT would be a story for another time, but I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff that happened there too. But yeah, I mean, that was my whole boot camp experience. If anyone has any questions on, or want to hear about different things that have to do with Marine Corps boot camp, if you guys actually want, if that's something that somebody is interested in or they want to join, I almost would say that I advise against it at this time, just because of the current climate of the world. But it was I think by far one of the best decisions I ever made in my entire life, was doing that, because it set me up for what I do now, and it got me out of whatever situation I was in before I joined, and I was able to live in California for 5 years, just basically on vacation, where it's beautiful, and they paid my rent, they paid for whatever, and they've paid for my education, and they'll I'll end up using the VA loan for my house and all that kind of stuff. And it's set me up pretty nice, you know. And I can't really complain. I mean, there were aspects to it that I didn't really enjoy, but the benefits far outweigh the cost, even to this day. Now I'm officially a free man. I'm not on any reservist anything. So this is just somebody who's been through the whole thing already and I guess got out of it. So I maybe, if you asked me while I was in, if I thought it was a good idea, who knows what I'd say. But right now, I think it was a good idea. And I'm happy I did it. But I think I'm going to end it there. It's a long episode. Might do 2 parts on this one. Been talking for been about an hour 20, which is about 80 minutes. So I could probably split this into like 2 30 to 35 minute after editing different parts. Don't know if clips are going to be the strongest and whatnot, but you know, it be what it be. I had to get a long episode and record before going on vacation because I've been posting every single day, clips or pods. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end it there. It is 11:15 at night. If you're watching this, you shouldn't be. If you watched the last one, you shouldn't have. And see ya.